10th we got it. No.
Right.
Shut up.
Fuck off.
What?
Dennis.
I've already
Okay.
sorry, I've already used up all my grade A stuff, so now I'm down to the
Guys, look, you're only wasting your own time. Okay, I can sit here all night if I have to
No,
until
you
you all
can't.
decide
Stop
to quiet
lying.
You
down.
can't.
It's Friday night. Yes,
I
I
can't.
can.
I'm fucking
it's Friday
bollocks.
night. Your webcam session kicks in 2 hours. I know. I've got a fucking alarm set.
Right, Neil knows me better than anyone else. Guys, welcome to the
And
box
if you think
set.
I'm missing Friday Night Amy, you're fucking very much mistaken.
That sounds like some sort of weird special.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It is.
I'll
but you
have
the
a Friday
platinum
night Amy,
package.
please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sunny
You
side up.
have to have the
sauce
platinum
on the side.
package. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Whichever
Guys,
side
welcome to
you
the
want.
box set.
Well, it's the best intro we've ever done.
That is negotiable. Thank you very much.
Right,
You
try
have
again,
to,
try again,
You have to
try
read
again.
the terms and
Apparently, I
conditions.
hadn't worked through all of my grade A material, apparently. So,
There you
yeah.
go. Full of surprises as ever.
Oh, dear. Thank you for bringing this unholiness towards us, Jonathan. I really appreciate it. Guys, welcome to the box set. I'm your host, Amy. I am joined by our round table. We've got Jonathan, we've got Dennis, we've got Neil, we've got Kira and Foxy, and joining us in the next, I'd say probably 10, 15 minutes anyway, is going to be Jerry. This week we are doing our...
How that
It's
threw you
copyrighted,
off?
but yes. It's not that it threw me off. It was more like, why didn't I think of that?
Des, you know
She's
the
gonna be
rules.
angry
You have to
because
clear
she didn't
all
think
your
of it
stuff by
first.
Amy, so she gets a joke first. You
No,
know this.
No, it's not even that. It's now note to self. Just bash everything that Dennis has to say, kind of like I did his guilty pleasure, which
That's it.
To
Yeah.
be fair,
we will be discussing this.
but to be fair, you had a right at least to bash that.
Mm.
That there was a reason. It was a
If
guilty
you-
pleasure.
Yeah,
Hang on,
our
wait, you're talking
the
about
last
bashing
episode.
bashing is guilty pleasure. Is that what he calls it?
Oh,
Is that what the kids
You know,
call it
That's a
these days?
great nickname for it.
It
is,
Guilty
isn't it?
pleasure. That's
Yeah.
a really
You
good
have- you
nickname.
have-
I'm
like guilty-
going
guilty and
off.
pleasure
I'm
tattooed
going
up
off
each
for a
side.
guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
On the last, the last episode of the box set, we went through our guilty pleasures. Obviously, as you can tell, Neil, you missed that episode, but we'll fill you in.
I was
So
indulging
this
in my own guilty pleasure.
3 times. It's a record. And
Yeah,
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like I'm building muscle, but this one's still just nothing.
Eating a full
yes.
tin of USA biscuits all to himself.
At like 3 in the morning.
Do you mean to tell me that there's actually biscuits in those tins? I always thought they were just sewing kits. Never seen one with a biscuit in it.
Have you been up all night eating cheese?
I think I'm
I
blind.
think I'm blind. Oh, it's amazing how quickly we go off the rail. So this week we're going to be doing our favorite characters. So we have 3 categories that we're picking from. Okay, so we've got books, we've got TV shows, and we have movies. We're allowing different adaptations of each as well. So there will probably be crossovers in each, but that's fine. What we're going to be doing then is we're going to be doing a little bit of a head-to-head, and the rest of the group will get to decide if your character basically is actually worthy of being a favorite, or if it's just going down to the pit of guilty pleasures along with the rest of the Jersey Shore cast.
Yeah, Dennis.
I'm not letting it go.
No.
Snooky will not stand for that.
Snooky
you went
will
for
not
Jersey
stand
Shore.
anyway.
Yeah.
You went for Jersey Shore. It should be Geordie Shore. That's where the art is at. That's where the artistry is at. Geordie Shore.
Go on, get him, Amy. Get him, Amy.
Glad. I am
Absolute
so glad that
Geordie Shore.
Neil was not on Guilty Pleasures, because it actually would have just been an entire episode of all of us ripping into Dennis and Neil over Geordie and Jersey Shore.
Geordie Shore is brilliant. I mean, like, when did Geordie start bleaching their arseholes? I mean, come on. These are questions that people need to be fucking asking.
Are they
No,
the
fair
ones
point,
that brought
actually. Yeah,
the
no one's been asking
vajazzles
that
to the
question
world?
before.
I'm actually surprised no one's guilty pleasure was Naked Attraction.
I think
Well,
I
yeah,
watched
guilty
one
by the first.
episode
Yeah.
and it was shite.
Any time they have it on Gogglebox, that's when I watch it. And I think I actually remember one of the episodes that they were shown on Gogglebox actually had a vajazzle.
Right,
on
so
it.
you don't actually like the show. You like watching other people
I
watching
like
the show.
watching it. I like seeing celebrities reacting to what a vajazzled vagina looks like.
Hey,
And
if I
Martin
was
Kemp-
going on a date naked, yeah, fucking jewel me up. Fucking
Absolutely.
hell.
One-way lights,
I
the
must
whole
find,
lot.
actually, no, I can't
Anyway,
find the clip 'cause I
moving
won't
on.
read it. But yeah, so we're going back onto this one, right? So we're going to start this one off because he's so vocal anyway as it is. We'll start with Neil, okay, and we'll work our way down on this one. So when I call your name, yeah, we're basically.
This is
I'm
not
gonna
a
do it-
classroom.
No, but I'm going by the way I have yous lined up on my screen.
Yeah, Zoom doesn't have that hands up function that Teams does. So
I'm not discussing Teams. I fucking despise it. I miss Skype so much.
Zoomers are
I know,
happy
I-
place.
Skype for
place.
business.
half the people just
Skype for
reacted
business
with
was the
revulsion there.
happiest. Oh, I fucking despise Teams. But we'll start with Neil on this one. So Neil, who's your first favorite character that you've got for us tonight?
My first favorite character, surprisingly enough, hits all three of your categories of books, films, and TV. My favorite character happens to also be.
What was that? Ooh! It sounded like you were to start the
Chavo.
Chavo Guerrero's theme music. Ooh, Chavo!
Chavo Guerrero, Neil. Chavo Guerrero.
Please,
Are you
let me
gonna-
Chavo
Is
Guerrero.
he gonna lie, cheat, and steal his way to a victory?
He very much does.
Oh.
My favorite character is John Constantine.
Nice.
Yes. I absolutely fucking. That's why, actually, sorry, there was a bit of a prelim before you started recording because you just clicked in recording midway through our conversation because you think that's really cool now because
Yeah.
everybody does that. But we were talking
Jonathan.
about wizards, and I said that my character was the king wizard, the chief wizard, the best character wizard, and that is John Constantine. And
I'm
he
actually
is-
kind of happy that did actually get cut off because we did have a nice little pop for that one. Go what? It's not Chavo Guerrero, but go for your reasons behind it. What makes him the ultimate? Like, what makes him your ultimate character?
Basically, because he just doesn't give a shit about anybody, and he just does. He is just a working class warlock, like all of us. In the comic books, he's Liverpudlian, so he's a Scouser. So I mean, you've got a Scouse wizard. I mean, come on, like I've just won it right there, and the whole thing now. Sorry, a Scouse wizard that was initially modeled on Sting. But like, it's just, I loved the Hellblazer series, and I remember I picked one up accidentally, thinking that it was Hellboy because I was into that at the time. Yeah, I was quite young, and I just remember reading about it, going,
This was 4 weeks ago. What are you talking about?
yeah, it was sorry. Yeah, I still can't. I've only just learned to read recently. But it's fantastic, and it's the thing about it is that the character is so good that even the shit spin-offs are actually quite decent movies. Like the one with the film with Keanu Reeves in it is garbage. Well, canon-wise, it's absolute garbage, but it's actually still a pretty good movie.
If you take it as a standalone,
if you take it as a standalone and just
works.
go, just watch it for its own self, it's really, really fucking good. And it's just, I just love it. It's somebody who's got severe lung cancer, tricking the devil into extending his life because the devil wants to claim him personally himself and won't let him sacrifice himself, because if he does, he goes to heaven and the devil can't get him. And it's fucking brilliant. In the comic book, the way he tricks the devil is even funnier, because it's not him that's cursed, it's a friend. And when the devil comes to pick up his friend's Irish in it, and his friend and the devil spend the whole night drinking Guinness and whiskey until he gets the devil. They're all pissed, and he accidentally feeds the devil a glass. He waits until past when the contract ends, and then he accidentally feeds the devil a glass of holy water, and then exercises him to save his friend's soul. And then his friend goes, and I think his friend dies anyway. It's just fantastic. It's just brilliant. I love it. He's a badass. Everybody that he's friends with dies. One of the best lines in the whole fucking comic book series is he's strapped to a chair next to a dead body. And the guy who has them there, who's captured them, has said, "Is this guy a friend of yours?" And he turns around and he goes, "Well, he must be. He's dead." It's just, I just love John Constantine. It's just awesome. Absolutely fucking awesome. Yes.
Constantine.
Also, very inclusive. Purely, he's absolutely bisexual. And just go for it. There we
I was
go.
actually, you know, I was actually just going to say to you, because you would understand this probably, and Foxy would as well, considering we were all on the Supernatural one together. Isn't that who Castiel is based on though as well? They literally took the look for Constantine, the trench coat, the whole thing, and even kind of the way the character kind of bends in it. That was their way of getting Constantine into it. The more I think about it, Supernatural does actually have an awful lot of Constantine kind of references to it without actually being overly obvious of their references.
Yeah,
I think you have to be a fan of Constantine to really get it.
They have tried to do. They did one series of a show of his, and they completely screwed the pooch on it. So it was cancelled after one series, even though it was actually quite good, I thought.
Was it
I'm an absolute fanboy. Who did he get to play John Constantine? He's not been on a whole lot.
Matt Ryan.
Idris Elba.
I would fucking love that.
No.
Idris Elba would fucking.
Wasn't Keanu Reeves, Neil? Was it?
No, that was the movie.
That was the movie.
Yeah.
TV series had Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it was Matt Ryan. Yeah, he actually fucking hell, you're correct. Because he does crossover episodes in the Arrowverse.
Yes. So Constantine had his own series, which unfortunately did really bad. But a way to get him back, they started integrating him into the Arrow series.
Yeah.
And it was how they would introduce the magical aspect into the DC shows, but also give Constantine another chance at having a series by himself.
Works.
Now, it didn't. He became a regular for another spin-off show where he was just a separate...
Was it Lucifer?
No, Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Well. And don't get me wrong, like, now I didn't watch the Constantine series, but like him in the DC, like Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow, he's fucking brilliant in it.
Yeah, he's
like,
really
absolutely brilliant. Because he's a bastard, but he's fucking hilarious.
I see Foxy's on the John train on this one, all right. So I'm gonna pick Foxy next then to give his character so we can go up again, Constantine.
Oh, you bollocks! No.
Well, don't worry. You and Neil don't get to pick which one's going to win overall. Though. Don't worry. That's down to the other four of us. Who's your character, Foxy?
Oh no, that's not fair. I fucking said this before.
Your fucking mouth now.
I do. I regret. I should have said a fucking thing. Yeah, I'm trying to think because like
might not be a classroom, but I'll treat it as one.
Remember, it's your own time you're wasting.
You want to talk? The floor is now yours. So, for mine, in regards to a movie, like my favorite character is Andrew Martin in Bicentennial Man, and Robin Williams.
Yes.
Oh, I love
the trump card. You played somebody portrayed by Robin Williams. Come on.
Here, hold on a second. You haven't picked out which version of John you want to be battling up against. Do you want the comics?
I was going to say, yeah. If you can't pick Keanu Reeves,
or do you want the movie John? Like, at least Foxy.
Wait a minute. There's an orders of magnitude difference in the level of talent between Robin Williams and Keanu fucking Reeves. Come on.
Yeah, but we're not judging the actor's talents. We're judging the character.
The depth of the character.
Don't forget
what we're going for here.
Yeah. Well, in any case, I'd go with the Matt Ryan one because it's far closer to the comic books and he's far much of a bastard.
Perfect. Right, so we're going with TV Constantine. Okay.
Yeah, even though film
Fox-
Constantine had Rachel Weisz in it, and yeah,
she's not up for grabs though on this one. It's
I
clearly
think
just John.
if I can get close enough, she's very much up for grabs.
Daniel Craig would probably snap your arm. Foxy, and give us a lowdown on Andrew Martin for people who might not know who he is.
So Andrew Martin is essentially an android in the movie Bicentennial Man, who was played by Robin Williams. Now, this film came out in, I want to say the mid 2000s.
I think it was I actually think it was the year 2000.
So like, but it's
1999.
1999.
Oh, so it was just before. So
yeah.
Essentially, like it was purchased by a family, the Martin home, and through the course of his servitude, he starts to exhibit different either ranges of emotion that shouldn't be present in an android. It's because he's meant to just be like an maid, and but the father takes to his study and teach him about different things in life, starting to nurture like Andrew's curiosities to the point where like Andrew's starting to develop his own like interests, and he takes up woodwork, and he takes up he picks up the piano, like how to play it with the daughter. But it gets to the point where he wants to evolve in a way that's like the company that was issuing the models for like the androids simply just said, "Right, do you want us to replace him?" It's like, no, we don't want to replace him. We just want to know, have you seen anything like this? And is there any more like him? So it's a weird, like, I can't like do it justice, because like it's a telling of the fragility of like of life, because this story of Andrew is told over decades.
Yeah,
it spans over.
Yeah, the movie goes on
I think
for
it's
days.
It's like you're looking at like a 2-hour runtime for a movie. So I'm trying to think. You have Little Miss, who was the original for the family. Right? Then Andrew, as she grows older, as she has her kids, that's when Andrew then decides that he wants to go off and find others that might be like him. So he goes off on that trail. But when he comes back, it's the granddaughter that he ends up coming back to. Portia, the granddaughter is Portia. So that's who he's come back to. Yeah, so it spans over 4 generations, I think, kind of getting to the end. So you actually do through 4 generations of the family, of the Martin family, that Martin is technically still considered part of. It is actually it's one of those movies. It was like 1999 for this to kind of come out. It's very much kind of like the whole point of wanting to be accepted and seen as how you truly feel that you are. And it kind of speaks an awful lot for like nowadays, especially with more and more kind of people kind of like, this is who I identify as, this is what I want to be known as. And that has to be kind of past. You have to have to pass that so you can actually change your certs and your documents and stuff like that. And it's basically kind of the same thing for what Andrew wanted. So it is very kind of, it's kind of like, oh shit, this is the time we're living in now, that this is what people who want to be accepted, they want to be seen as how they feel that they truly are. Andrew wanted to be human because that's how he felt. He believed him to be human, to the extent where he changed every single aspect of him to no longer be an android. Android. That he ended up like with it, like he had a heart, he had lungs and stuff. Like he got everything done. Oliver Platt was in it as well. It's actually a really, really good movie. It's on, if you have Sky, you'll actually have to find it on Sky On Demand, or it's on YouTube for $2.99. You can
touches
buy it on YouTube.
Touches on euthanasia as well, because he wants to die at the end of it.
He wants to die, but it's not that he wants to die. He just wants to be recognized as human before he dies, because
Yeah.
he's altered his body so much that he actually is human. He is no longer going to live forever. Therefore, he has an expiration date, just like humans do. He's no longer an android, and he wants them to officially recognize him as a human before he actually dies.
Yeah, he actively sought out to become more human. So like he became very instrumental in like coming up with prosthetics, like new prosthetics, like organs and limbs for people. Like he was designing them, and that was through his learning over the years with the Martin family, like, and his interest peaking. But it got to the point that even he was just like, right, like I'll have to go one step further. Like if they won't acknowledge me now, then I need to take it one step further, and that's basically to give up his immortality.
Yeah, that's with the blood transfusion, isn't it? That's what he gets.
Yeah, he literally basically gets an entire circulatory system installed into his body.
That's
so
what
he
actually,
can
that's
actually
what, that's what they tell him will break down. They're like, this is the part that will die, basically. This is what's going to kill you. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, actually, for a movie that came out in 2019. He does pull it off, and he does actually die in the end. Where the fuck have you been? If you're living under a rock, you should have probably seen it.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
1919.
But anyway,
sorry.
No.
Even if it was 2019, lads, we've been in lockdown for at least a fucking year,
exactly.
and Neil completed Netflix.
Exactly.
So
I've aged like 20 years in the last 3 months. Time is meaningless.
Yes.
But it's not.
We're
really
all Andrew Martin right now.
Not really spoiler alerts, because like the movie's now old enough to buy a drink.
Yeah.
So
like Andrew Martin is a great character for like the complexity of the character, like, and the range of emotion that's shown throughout the entire movie. But like the reason why it's my favorite is like it's one of only 2, maybe 3 films that actually made me cry. And it's because I didn't get it. I didn't get it when I first saw it. But when I got older and I watched it, I was fully able to understand and appreciate it. Like, and that's why it's my favorite. So
that's a good reason.
And that's good. That's actually a nice one on this one. All right. So we have John Constantine, and we have Andrew Martin. All right.
He went for the heartstring puller. Fuck that shit, right? My guy's a badass who like tricks the devil after getting hammered with him. Let's just say, which one would we rather be? A 200-year-old android making clocks and shit,
or bisexual scouser,
human by the end of it.
Bisexual scouse warlock getting hammered with the devil.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought when Foxy started his, I said this is going to be a fucking easy pick, right? And then Neil just said that. I went, actually.
Bisexual Scouse Wizard.
Yes,
that'd actually be a good title for the video. Bisexual Scouse Wizard.
There is a massive downfall here that I have in this one, and it's Deuce. Like, do we really want to deliver like a Liverpool accent? Do we really want that Zach Gibson Soon accent to be our top winner?
Sorry, every time I do that, I have an instinct to just boo.
It's funny. I always want to ask where the car stereo has gone.
And some Brits want to take their shoes off around them. It's very strange.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, they do very weird things to them.
Okay. I have to admit, like they are actually two. They're 2 very, very good arguments.
They're tough.
Listen,
They are tough.
I'm kind of swaying more towards
2 quite left field choices as well. I have to admit.
Yeah,
I mean, they could not be. They like, to be honest with you, because I don't know who's actually going to pick what one's going on to it right firsthand. So if I am putting these against each other, I generally don't know what characters these are picking for it. So it's not like I think, oh, this will be a good one to go up against each other. But I'm kind of swaying towards Andrew Martin just because realistically, I mean, he was an activist you could actually get behind.
I have a
As much as
soft
I wanna
spot
get
for
drunk.
John. I have a soft spot for John Constantine.
So you got one
Right,
apiece
okay,
here.
so we've got one each.
Hmm.
Kira,
I always
been
have.
very quiet.
I love Constantine as a character. I always love those flawed characters. You'll see that with my pick too. And it
That does
just
explain Jersey Shore.
yes.
They are very
Um,
flawed people.
Paulie D is one of the most flawed characters you'll ever see. But
If he's your favorite character from a TV show, I'm fucking
you're
vetoing
going,
that now.
No, I promise it's not. But I have a soft spot for John Constantine. Always have. Love the
Okay.
portrayals I've seen of him as well. Love the comics. He's a badass. I love Andrew Martin too. Both test and not test. But but
I forgot test. Shit.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen Bicentennial Man in a long ass time. So maybe
Highly recommend a rewatch.
yeah, maybe I'd
Just
feel
for-
more kind of kindred to it if I watched it more recently, but Constantine has a place in my heart, man. I gotta vote for that.
Fair enough.
Okay, that's fine. So we've got one vote each. Kira,
I'd have to probably go with Andrew Martin's.
Ooh. Chavo.
I don't know.
dun, dun, dun.
I have a hard enough time
I can't help it.
anything.
Yeah.
Like, so like my mind flip with the mood. So yeah.
Interesting.
With the Andrew, Jonathan.
Yeah, like I enjoy
Just
both.
bear in
pictures.
mind, I will actually just before I do, just bear in mind if it does have a tiebreaker on it, Jerry can have a final vote.
Jerry
I
will
was
have the
about, to
final
say,
vote.
I was about to say
Yeah.
it's kind of odd having like an even number of people deciding on this because
Yeah,
if
no,
for
don't
some
worry.
reason-
We do have a factor in it. If for some reason it's gone to a tie, as host, I will.
I was gonna say surely it should fall to
Arbitrate.
Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it does go to that one, then I will
Yeah.
go to. I'll be the fucking Len.
Weigh
from
up
Strictly Come
all
Dancing,
the
head
arguments
judge.
and be fair.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
yeah, I can do that.
that's why I was
Yeah.
working the bisexual Scouse war angle hard. I know
No,
that's gonna
exactly what I'm
that's
into.
gonna
That's
push
the
on-
word.
Yeah.
it's gonna
You
push
know me
almost
far too
every
well.
button of hers, you know.
Know me
I'm
far too well.
this and I'm going looking now.
That's it. Yeah.
I'll be down a rabbit hole this weekend.
To be fair, like
To be fair, actually, I will say this. Sorry, if you do end up going down a rabbit hole, watch the movie before you watch anything else to do with Constantine, and then just take it for what it
Yes.
is by itself, and
yes.
then go to the other stuff.
The movie
And
doesn't-
Keanu Reeves, and it's like it's
I
it's
can't-
youngish. It's young enough.
as
Keanu Reeves.
a reformed smoker, I can't watch that movie. I want to smoke the whole time.
Yeah, because he's just constantly.
Yeah,
lighting up the
I
whole way
want to
through.
fucking have a pack and just smoke the whole thing there. Fuck.
Jonathan, for the love of God, Jonathan, what are you going with? Are you going with the bisexual, or are you going with the human again?
Android, yeah. Like I'll be fair. Like Foxy's kind of like touched a bit upon one of the characters I was going to mention, but seeing that like for the sake of repetition, I'm not going to. For my one next, but so it's a very strong case for him. But when Neil mentioned John Constantine as a bisexual Scouse wizard, that just reminded that is the closest thing to a description of Steve McManaman I'm ever going to get. So I'm going to have to go with that as a tie.
Okay.
So I'm tying it up with this one. I'm tying up two apiece.
We all had really like, oh, you know, it meant a lot to me. I really loved it. Or just, you know, it's a close resemblance to this lad I like.
To be fair, it's playing into the bisexual tunes, I think, on this one. That's what's
Yeah,
There you
swaying
go.
most of
There you
us.
have it. Yeah.
I have a chance. Look, it's been a long lockdown for all of us. We'll take whatever we can get at this point, I think, for most people. So
That is
soon as
the case for all
bisexual
of
comes
us,
up,
really, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm on it. Yeah. All right. If Jerry gets in, we'll be able to put it to him. If not, I will come with a final decision after I've weighed up all arguments at the end. Our next two contestants, Jonathan,
All right.
who are you going
So,
with?
what I'm going with. So again, I mentioned that Foxy kind of I wouldn't say he didn't nick my spot in a sense, but he went for a character very similar to what I was going to go for, and that was that was Lieutenant Data, because it's very similar thematically with what he
Oh.
does. I was gonna go with him, right? But I'm gonna go.
You're not going with. Okay.
No, I'm gonna go with the same universe though. I am gonna take, because as much as Amy's gonna roll her eyes at this, Star
Holy
Trek
shit,
is,
are you going to go Riker?
I'm not gonna go Riker, no. Although
You're
he
going
is a,
Kirk.
Because
he's not a
if
bad
you
shout.
went
No, no,
Riker,
not
I
Kirk,
would
not
call
Kirk.
fucking foul that you're just trying to butter up Amy.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's
I'll
the
see
exact
camera
reason.
steaming up from
That's the
side,
exact
like.
reason that I was gonna pick Frankenfurter and I didn't. Right, so you can't fucking do it again.
No. It's not. It's not Riker. It's not
Oh,
Riker.
are you? Hold on a second. If you'd picked Frankenfurter, you would have been up like that. That's on the lines of the bisexual Constantine. He's also a bi character. Damn, we are very inclusive here,
We're
guys.
very inclusive, aren't we? Yeah. So again,
Jesus, I'm proud of you all.
Yeah, we're
Especially
doing
after
well,
the shit you were talking about before the recording started. Like, I'm
either
so
that or
proud
my
of you.
either that or my porn preferences have gotten noticeably darker over the pandemic.
Like, nah.
We don't say darker,
Not while
we
we're
say more
recording.
exotic.
exotic. There it is. That's the word.
No, I'm getting.
I didn't know
weird.
I didn't know I was into this as a fetish. I didn't know it was a fetish, but it's my thing now apparently.
There you go.
Jonathan,
But-
sorry,
yes,
we're off
as I was
track.
saying.
Okay, who from the Enterprise are you thrown into the mix?
Well, here's the thing. This guy isn't on the Enterprise. He's in fact on Deep Space Nine. I'm going for Benjamin Sisko as my character.
Francisco.
So to be fair, like the one word you probably describe with him is that he's complicated, right? Like overall, if
He's
you
an
boil it down
Avril
to the
Lavigne
barest bones, like he would have been like, he's a very important character in the sense that first of all, he's a very strong person of color shown on TV, which again at the time in the 90s, you'd have thought that like a lot of them would be kind of on at the time, but it actually really wasn't the case in a sense. It was only until they saw like those type of characters and you had the right actors portraying them and the right type of character as well, because he's a single dad, so he's raising a son by himself, and he's also the commander of what is essentially the space equivalent of the Wild Wild West. Everything is happening on this space station, from fucking bandits to like wars to diplomacy and all this sort of stuff. But it's also not as like clean and crisp as say the Next Generation was. There's an actual level of like nuance about things, and that's the way they wrote that intentionally, of course, to kind of make it more.
Yeah, they wanted to keep the central location so they could have overarching storylines.
Yes,
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's funny. People always mention him as like, oh, he was the first black captain. I was like, he didn't even start out as a captain.
No, he's a commander.
He was
Yeah,
a commander he was a commander for the first 3 series, and then they promoted him.
That's it.
I always saw that as them kind of hedging their bets. It's like, if he's not a captain
Yeah,
and he tanks, we'll just replace him with some white guy who has 4 pips, and then we can
yeah.
go
No,
with
in
him.
fairness, you're probably right. Like, but the thing about it is, like, he is such a full character in a sense, because, like, legit in the first episode of the series, you see he gets involved in this massive space battle and loses his wife in the battle. Like, he is part of like this huge like mini war that happens and loses his wife in it, and it was a huge plot point in the Next Generation. So it's all in the shared universe. So, and he's also very bitter about that as well. Like, being bitter is part of his character. You know, he's very much out for revenge. He's a very human character in a sense, whereas the likes of say Kirk and Picard were very paragon. You know, they always seem to like make a positive out of it. They're always like the best example of being a human being, an evolved human is what they used to call it. But Sisko wasn't. He had human emotions. If he was angry, he was angry. If he wanted revenge, he was going to get revenge, and that happens a lot in the show. But he also had that side of being a father and being paternal and trying to raise his son right. And again, in a space station that was essentially like a former prison camp. So it's a space station that's now trying to be renovated to be civilized, if you know what I mean. So it's all this stuff. And legit, the first episode is him, 1, losing his wife, 2, going to this god awful space station, and 3, then finding out that he is a mythical like figure in another planet's religion. And not only that, that's not just bullshit, by the way. He gets greeted by the gods of that religion to say, oh yes, no, you are the emissary. You will guide this planet to their new kind of like level, as it were, because this is a planet of refugees. And now you're bringing
That's
them out
a lot
of
of
that.
stress to put on one man's shoulders.
It's
One episode, Amy. The first
one episode. It's actually the first episode stars probably the most, if you're into Star Trek canon, it's literally the most famous battle in the whole of the canon. It's the Battle of Wolf 359.
Yeah.
It's the fight between, funnily enough, actually, Picard's in it. The Enterprise are in it. It's the Enterprise v the Borg. And that's when he loses his wife. So they start off with that. But it's really good how what I love about Sisko is how he tries to balance his, because it's over Bajor, he's actually now worshipped by the population as an emissary to their gods. So it's how he balances that with being a starship captain, because he's vast amounts of influence in one area, and as a commander, he's not a whole amount in the other. And it's really, really fucking good. I actually think it's the best of all of the Star Trek series.
I think so too.
I
love
DS9. I love DS9.
Okay, Trekkies. Okay, put the nerdgasms away for a minute. So we have Sisko on this one then.
I have two reasons why this character gets through, right? So the first one, again, because it's such a wide expansive series and there's so much time to pick where, I'm going to go with two examples. I mentioned about the revenge aspect.
Are they short examples?
They are short examples.
I know for a fact that you can drone on and on.
They're too...
And on.
But if you let me finish, I might be able to actually start answering my points
really quickly. This is how I feel when you start talking about Star Trek. It just drones on.
Yes. Well, I'll keep going then. So
I'm so glad I have the veto on this one.
So there's a story arc where essentially this group of humans have formed their rebellion on the skirts of space called the Maquis, based off the real life Maquis in World War II. And essentially Sisko has taken really offense to this because they're actual citizens from the Federation and they're fighting their own personal war. And he's lost a lot of friends to that cause. And he can't understand why. One of them was his former chief of security. So he can't understand why he has gone there to take up this very obvious lost cause, but they're doing it anyway. They're all real kind of romantics for the cause, martyrs. So he gets an opportunity to track this fucker down, right? He wants to get this guy and nail him, absolutely just take him in and imprison him and do all sorts of stuff. But he's so blinded by revenge, he doesn't know what he wants to do yet, okay?
Well done.
Perfect timing for him to jump in.
Yeah, I know, right?
Excellent fucking timing.
Why is it? Why? Oh, I'm nervous now.
No, don't be.
You'll know now in a second.
Yeah, I'll just keep going on.
Once Johnson has finished his fucking speech,
it's a soliloquy. Excuse me, it's a soliloquy.
Yes. I just keep going.
Continue, John.
So yes, he tracks down this guy called Michael Eddington, and he basically says, so this guy has decided to poison the planet, right? So he tracks on a few things, and Eddington starts using this kind of metaphor from Les Miserables as his point. So Sisko goes, okay, then this guy thinks he's a romantic. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to poison the planet myself.
This is kind of swaying me.
And he does.
This is kind of swaying me now a little bit, actually. M.A.S.H has kind of swayed me on this.
But this is the thing. This is the point. This is what I'm trying to point out about the case of actually getting revenge. He is literally willing to become the villain in order to do that, because he wants to get anything so fucking much. And Eddington, to the point, calls him Javert. He calls him Javert throughout the entire episode, and Sisko's going, oh, you want to see Javert? Press button and fucking watch this. Your whole planet is poisoned. Get the fuck out. And it's if you don't bring yourself in, I'm going to do it again. And to every single outpost you've taken across this border until you bring yourself in. And the gas thing is, it works. He brings himself in because he used that guy's romanticism for himself against him. The second one was during this huge overarching war that they've had with the Dominion, which is this big, huge, overwhelming force on the opposite side of space. And they're losing the war. It's absolutely going terribly for the Federation. So Sisko decides they need ammunition. They need backup, right? So he decides, and the way this episode is done is perfect because it's the personal conflict Sisko's having with his own morals and his ethics about how does he get the Romulans into the war. A huge fleet by themselves, a huge power. How do we get them into the war? So he consults a guy called Garrick, who's a former spy, and quite a devious character. I was going to throw him in myself because he's a very good candidate.
Hold on a second. Sorry. Hold on, stop for a second.
You did. You got it.
I caught it. I was like, out of the whole DS9 canon, I would have gone with Garrick.
Garrick was my second. Garrick was my
Sorry.
second, honestly.
I,
Yeah,
no
no.
way.
I just want to jump on some again. Just name what's the name of the character again?
Disco.
Garrick.
No, Gary. Does he have a
Captain
first
Sisko.
name or is that?
Benjamin Sisko.
Yeah. Cisco.
No,
yeah.
no. Yeah, no. That's when you picked. I want to go back to Garrick here for a second. What is he? Has he got a full name on this one, or did you just rip it off
does it
half
begin
of
with
it
a
for the
D?
fucking RPG?
No,
Is
no,
it
his name is Elam
Damon?
Garrick. Elam Garrick.
Elam Garrick, yeah.
Yeah.
You will actually think.
Oh my god! You actually got a fucking Star Trek pop into the RPG.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
also,
he
yeah.
definitely
Wow.
did.
I can see
yeah.
where you think
Wow.
that. Yeah, fair enough. Anyway,
I'm
Wow.
only realizing
You
that now, and I'm a
fucking
big fucking
nerd.
Star Trek nerd. How the fuck have I not realized?
You know
that?
what?
Don't deny
Okay,
it. Like,
you know what?
I did because everybody knows Garrick is such a common name. I suppose maybe I got it from there.
My
Don't fucking bullshit. Of course you got it from there.
And do you know what? And do you know
It's
what's
the
great?
Garricks down in Ballymun. Sure, they're fucking
the
grand.
best part about this is I was trying to figure out who's the other massive Trekkie in the group, and because Jerry, I'm going to make sure Jerry goes against the Trekkie now on this one.
oh, bitch.
Oh,
That's evil.
Jerry, you have to fight fire over fire here, right? You have to do that. We have to do this. So, anyway,
I screwed
so we get-
Foxy over as well. Don't worry.
yeah, that's fair, yeah. But he, but like I say, he consults this guy who is a master of the dark arts himself, and they hatch a plan to try and get him
Damon
into
Garrick,
the war,
yeah.
right? And he does this, right? He does it, and it doesn't work, right? The Romulans figure out whatever they had done was a forgery, okay? And it goes out, and then suddenly the ship blows up that the guy was on. It was like, okay, that's wrong. And then Cisco storms in, kicks the shit out of Garrick, and they have this back and forth, admitting that Cisco couldn't do what he wanted to do, right? And what happens is he gets the right result. The Romulans are in the war, and it's a turning point. This could very well win them the war. But the case was that he basically really seriously, like, he committed murder, committed conspiracy, did all this. And the scene ends with him looking at the camera as a war and saying, I can live with this. I can absolutely live with this. Absolutely 100%
Your
live
favorite
with this.
character is significantly flawed.
Yeah. Oh, and this is the beauty
Okay.
of a lot of Star Trek characters, is that for every strength, and this is particularly the case in DS9, not so much in Next Generation, but in DS9, every positive is outweighed by a negative, and they did a superb way of doing that, especially with the higher characters like Garrick, like Cisco, O'Brien, Odo. Like, everyone has their failings. And they
Chief
all counter
O'Brien
each
now
other.
is fucking Chief O'Brien's pure gold in this one now. Colin
Oh,
Meaney
yeah.
is kicking ass.
Guys, don't worry. You'll all get a second chance to
Colin
go around
Meaney,
with favorite characters.
He goes
And
full
something tells me
snapper.
we're
He
gonna have
goes
a lot
full
more fucking
snapper in
Star
a couple of
Treks.
episodes.
He does.
It's
He
brilliant.
does. He
Come on,
does.
come on, he was the first guy to say
regret everything.
bollocks on
was-
fucking American television.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely.
And it was before the watershed as well. They said it like
Yeah.
That's
7
true,
hours
yeah.
before the watershed. But
Yeah.
Jonathan, you probably agree with me when you say it. Every DS9 character is broken in some way. Now you
Very
know,
much so, yeah.
I know Amy's talking about Cisco.
This turns into a Star
Of course,
Trek
it's fucking
discussion.
flawed. He saw his wife get murdered for fucking.
We've already been through that part.
We have skipped.
We
Yeah,
have
we're
not-
taking, Amy, we're taking over, right? Just
Yeah, Amy, just
been
look at it.
assimilated.
Fine. We'll
Guys,
just
look
look at
now,
it's fine.
it's
We'll
got-
just
Amy,
it has
your
got
only
to-
your OnlyFans broadcast starts in 15 minutes.
I will
So if you wanna,
literally pull
lube up
down
for that one
my
now,
top
and
because
we'll just
I
start
know for a
talking.
fact it will stop Jerry from talking on this one. I will pull down the top.
No, I'm going to continue talking because Star Trek is better.
Hold on.
Oh!
You know what?
Hold
Now
on.
I'm glad you're going up against the fucking Star Trek.
Hold on. Everybody, shush. We do have to get some order on it. And to be fair, it is Amy's show. So I'm going to take Amy's side on it. That,
I have no problem with you discussing the characters on it, but we are not leading into a fucking discussion about Star Trek. Do that shit on your own time. All right?
We will.
I am going to
We
turn
will.
into a fucking teacher. I will turn into a
I'm
teacher.
just being
more
fair.
So than I
I've
have.
seen angry Amy. I don't feel like I'm too fucking tired to deal with it. So
I can already feel the pain in my back as well. So I actually do think I am going to feel some fucking side effects in the morning. So can we please just stick to... I got my jab today, Jerry. Yay.
Let's
So
go.
can we please stick to the topic at hand? Jonathan, you've had more than fucking enough time to discuss.
I'm finished with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Okay.
done. He's done.
I'm done.
Grand. Jerry, welcome to the group, guys.
My
Everyone's
choice
Jerry
is
Soul.
Captain Picard.
My choice is gonna surprise everyone.
Okay.
Oh, it's Star Wars.
So the
Babylon
options.
5.
Okay, so the option. I can't remember. I'm not sure if we actually sent it to you or not. So the options for the group sense, you have favorite characters for a book, TV show, or movie. Okay, so you're going up against Cisco.
Okay.
Once we've done your one, we'll go back to the previous one because we need to get your vote on the first two as well. All right.
Okay.
So Jerry, thank you for joining us. Who is your favorite character?
My favorite character is from a book, and it's not just one book; it's a series of books.
Is it Harry Potter?
It's not Harry Potter. Unless you're a big fantasy book person, you're probably not going to know the series of books, the writer, or even the character that I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
The writer is Raymond E. Feist, and he wrote the Rift War saga or Rift War cycle. There's like 20 odd books in it.
Okay.
And in the very first book is called Magician, and it's all about a young boy called Pug. Now, Pug is not my guy. I'm just kind of giving you context here. The whole saga kind of revolves around Pug, but my favorite character in anything I've ever read or watched or anything at all is a minor character from the first book, and then he starts to get bigger after that. And his name is Jimmy the Hand. Now, Jimmy the Hand is basically a thief.
Neil, don't make me mute you.
Come on.
It's too hanging. It's low hanging fruit. You're better than that.
I don't know why, but I instantly thought of Cartman in South Park going like taco taco taco, burrito burrito.
All right, so we've got Jimmy the Hand.
Jimmy the Hand.
Okay. Is he? To be fair, this sounds like a character that fucking Robert De Niro would have played in a Martin Scorsese version of this book.
No, Jimmy the Hand, when you first meet him, is 12.
Okay.
Like he's only
Joe
a kid.
Pesci then.
Because he'd be But Jimmy the Hand basically helps a character called Prince Aruta. They escaped from Krondor, which is a city in this world, and Aruta never forgot that. But Jimmy kind of had some sort of connection with Aruta. He kind of liked him. So what happened then was when Aruta became Prince of Krondor, there was assassins sent to kill Aruta. And what happened was Jimmy found out about this, and because Jimmy's very much a spy, he can lurk in the shadows. He's a boy thief. He's a great climber. You'll never see him. And he found out about these guys that wanted to kill Aruta, and he saved the day. So Aruta said, "Okay, if you come with me now, we're probably going to be murdered by the people that you used to work for." So he had to pay them off to not kill him because he really, really, really liked Jimmy. And Jimmy would do heroic thing after heroic thing and on and on and on. And as he's still just kind of a friend to Aruta says, what reward am I going to give you? And Jimmy goes, I'd like to be the Duke of Krondor. That's what I'd like to be. So Aruta then takes him into his service and he becomes a squire, and they go in, they have to save people, they have to get, there's so many different things that Jimmy does for Aruta that along the way, over the course of the next 50 years, or say 5 or 6 books, Jimmy eventually does become the Duke of Krondor. But he's such the backstory of Jimmy is unbelievable, to the point where people that have read this series love them so much that the author Raymond E. Feist created another series just about Jimmy. And Jimmy is he's such a lovable character because I listen to the audiobooks. I've read all the books, but I listen to the audiobooks, and how he's portrayed in the audiobooks, he's this little Cockney guy. He's like, he's kind of common, and then he's like, everyone else is like real, like.
Actually, I was smiling at the.
We heard it. We heard the laugh.
I was smiling. I was laughing at his portrayal that
I am going to be writing to Neve. I'm going to be writing to Neve about your disruptions in class.
I was about to say I understand where he's coming from with the audiobook, reigniting his love for the characters, because the same thing happened to me. I know it was a wee bit of a tangent, but the same thing happened to me with the Dark Tower series, the Stephen King series.
Actually, okay, yeah. I'll agree
the audiobook of them, I tried reading those books. I tried plowing through the first 2 probably about 4 times and failed
It's
every
impossible.
time.
Yeah.
Failed every time. And then I got the audiobook through a site that may rhyme with irate May. And, but I got them onto an iPod, and I was just the portrayal, a really, really good audiobook. And I literally sat down for 7 hours. Like that's how long the books go on for. And it's just fantastic the way the characterization works. So I understand that part. That's what I was chuckling at.
I tried that with The Stand, tried to read it, wasn't happening. As soon as I got the audiobook,
Yeah.
bam, fucking savage.
Audiobooks are absolutely great, and it's audiobooks are great if you get a good person who's actually reading them.
Yeah, who's doing
There's
the
been
books.
fucking terrible ones. Like, I can't listen to this. It's just the voice goes through you. I can't listen to it. Whereas
If
the guy,
Stephen Fry is doing it, I'm happy.
Stephen Fry is great, but he doesn't do this series, unfortunately. But the guy who does his voice is absolutely fantastic. I don't know his name, but he's fantastic. Does all the different voices and stuff like that. So Jimmy progresses from a boy thief all the way up to the leader of one of the main leaders of the nation, and just his story going from that to someone who's so important, who's only second to the prince, is absolutely fantastic. But the journey along the way is just brilliant. He helps Aruta rescue his princess. He helps Aruta's sons, who one has been kidnapped and brought to be slavers, and he goes and saves him. It's the story of how he meets his wife. He's taking a dip in a pool, like in a lake, and he comes upon this woman who's just like, he's very much like me. He's a pervert. Right? Basically, he comes along and he sees
that wasn't me,
Jerry.
right, Amy? Right, that wasn't me. None of that
I
was
love,
me.
I love how I just went to Jerry, Neil, Jerry.
No.
So he sees this woman, and he's bollock naked and he's having a swim. He sees her bollock naked, and he's like, he just wants to say hello, but he obviously startles her. But she has like magical power; she can use her mind, so she basically knocks him unconscious with her mind. So when he wakes up, he just gazes into her eyes. She gazes back, and within an hour, he's going to ask her father, "Can I marry her?" And it's the story
Love at
behind
first
it.
sight.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, then the bond that they have from there, up until the point then where there's a massive invasion. Jimmy has this fantastic idea how he's going to save the kingdom by destroying it. And I don't want to get too much into it because I think people should really read these books because they're fantastic. Raymond E. Feist books are amazing. There's about 22, 23 books in the series altogether. Some of them kind of branch off into different stories and different genres, but for the most part, the main Rift War saga, my favorite character, Jimmy the Hand, he's absolutely amazing. Just to read from him going from a boy who had nothing, and then you get a little bit of his backstory, how his mother was a whore and he was abandoned. There was a guy who basically would pay for sex, and then he killed her one day. So Jimmy eventually gets his revenge on his mother's murderer.
It's very kind of Charles Dickens, like the way you're kind of explaining that
it
start
can be,
off as, like there seems to be kind of like a parallel there to like the our Fagan's gang sort of type situation.
Oh, absolutely.
There, yeah.
There's the person who's kind of Jimmy's boss when you first meet Jimmy is the Upright Man, is his name. So that's real kind of Charles Dickensy.
Yeah.
And what you find out throughout the story is that the Upright Man is actually more than meets the eye in terms of Jimmy. And it's absolutely just from start to finish, you see Jimmy going from 12 years all the way up to about 70 in the books. And from start to finish, the other characters in the books are amazing. Like Feist is a fantastic writer. Pug obviously is the main character throughout the whole thing. And he starts off as a boy who becomes the most powerful magician in the world. And then in the universe. So it's so involved. It's something that I would recommend to anybody. Now, saying that, the fact that I now have to go up against Captain fucking Cisco means I'm probably going to lose.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I have the final say. Don't worry.
So you have the final say.
If it ends up as a tiebreaker. Yeah.
Okay, great. So loads of hugs for you.
Well, hang on. It seems like the deciding factor for any character with Amy is, do either of these characters go both ways?
We had that was discussed
Yeah,
last time.
we've
So yeah.
Yeah, again, we'll be able to go back onto that one because Jerry has to actually give the vote on that one.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So whoever Jerry votes for on that one, he'll technically be the
Just-
tiebreaker on it. But going
yeah.
forward, I'll be used as a tiebreaker. Right.
Okay.
So we'll start with Neil since he's so eager to chat on these ones. Cisco or Jimmy the Hand,
This
which
is
to be fair, they actually sound like they could be partners in crime.
That does actually sound really good. I will go with Cisco, even though Jimmy the Hand. I actually, to be honest with you, Feist is an author I've always wanted to read, but it was always too much of a commitment. I was sat in a bookstore and I was holding up two books. One was the first one of the Rift War saga. What's the first one?
Magician.
Magician, yes. And in my other hand, I had Eye of the World.
Oh.
No, Robert Jordan one.
Oh, that's a tough choice. Both are a big commitment.
I went with that one actually. Funnily enough, we're doing other characters, aren't we, Amy?
We are, yeah. Don't worry, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have more. Yeah.
You've actually inspired my next choice. You've made me change my mind with that one.
That's beautiful, Jerry.
For mentioning that one. But yeah, I'll go with Ben Cisco.
Okay.
He was an unbelievably progressive character in an era where like that just wasn't done. You know,
okay. I can agree. I can give you that one on that one.
Funnily enough, actually, one of the episodes John really mentioned. You remember the episode where he kind of thinks that he's imagined the whole thing, and he's back
Beyond
in
Beyond the Stars. Oh, that was
wow.
I wanted to hide that.
We're not going on to a tangent. We will not go on to a tangent.
It's a great example though of his character. Great example of his character.
Yes, I will go.
Dennis.
Yes.
Dennis.
I'm kind of unbiased in the fact that I am not overly familiar with either character. So I level with you straight there. So I'm relying a lot on the description of them.
Which is how I kind of assumed this would go.
Yes. So I'm familiar with I have heard of both and I did see a little bit of Cisco on TV, but not enough to make an informed decision. So going on things, I gotta say the Jimmy the Hand character does appeal to me. Like the idea of it and how Jerry kind of went through it. Again, as I said before, I'm a sucker for flawed characters. And I'm not thinking, I know Cisco is flawed and all that stuff, but it appealed to me. That's all I can really say.
Okay. So we're going with Jimmy the Hand.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Foxalicious Foxy. Are you gonna go? Are you a Cisco kid or are you a Handman Jimmy?
Well, neither of those options sound right now. Hey, wait a minute. You were criticizing me for chuckling mildly childishly. And
I also chuckled, but it's my show.
You delivered the characters that way.
But it's my show.
Oh my God. You
flawed character.
Greased them up and just slithered them in there.
You're in the Platinum Club, sir, okay? Will you put your hands down?
So, anyway, now for for Cisco, I do understand what John is getting across with Cisco. It's been a while since I've watched through Deep Space Nine, but also listening to Jerry describe Jimmy the Hand, I am very intrigued about it. That kind of description does make me want to actually look into the character and the story a bit more. But I think for this one though, I'll go with Cisco.
Okay. Kira, are you going to take a trip to the Enterprise, or are you going to where's Magician set?
Midcamia.
Or are you heading on a vacation to Midcamia?
I'm the Trekkie, I will always remember, my granddad would come in.
Oh, you're bringing them on a tangent now. This is interesting. I'll get the texts.
Enterprise came on, the Next Generation, and there was nothing else being put on telly. That was it. So I didn't get to watch Deep Space Nine because it was Next Generation or nothing.
That's a pity.
So I don't. And then the way that Jimmy the Hand has been described, I'm kind of leaning towards him. So sorry, John. I'm going with Jimmy.
That's okay. It's all right.
Right. So I do actually get to do a tiebreaker on this
Yeah.
one. Yay.
Top shelf.
Okay. Based on both of them, if I'm just gonna take my bias away from the thing on this one anyway. All right. Okay. It's no secret that I'm not a Trekkie fan anyway to begin with. However, the character of Cisco is a character I'm like Cutter. I love a flawed character. Some of my favorite characters are always going to be flawed characters in this sense. The issue that I have with this one is he is a character in a genre I have absolutely no interest in, which is it wouldn't sway me to actually go and want to watch it. Now, Jerry's character is very much on the mythical kind of sense of where we're kind of going on this one, and it also has an awful lot of elements that I do enjoy, hence why I brought up the Dickinson kind of comparison with it. But it's also kind of reminded me a little bit of The Princess Bride in that sense though as well. So I'm kind of like, oh, I can actually contribute this type of character to someone who's in The Princess Bride. It reminds me of Wesley, especially kind of when it's like As You Wish and he's willing to do anything for this one. As Jerry was describing the character and the more or less story, I'm more interested in finding out the story of over the series of 20 books than I am to kind of watch Deep Space Nine on it. So I think on this one, while they are both two kind of superb characters in a sense, they are both kind of, they have both kind of pros and cons as to what they are. I think it's because I'm actually more interested in what Jerry's kind of selling in a sense. Yeah. I'd be more inclined to go with Jimmy the Hand on this one.
That's fair point, yeah. Yeah, I'm happy with that, yeah.
Okay. We're going to go back to our first choice, guys. And this is just for Jerry on this one, right? So our first round was between Neil and Foxy. And Neil had picked John Constantine. And Foxy had Andrew Martin from Bicentennial Man. Now, the version of John Constantine we're going for was the TV show version. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, the Matt Ryan.
Yeah, so we're going with the Matt Ryan, John Constantine versus the obviously Bicentennial Man on this one. Now what won it for a few of us, me, on John Constantine was the fact that he's a bisexual scout.
Wizard.
That's the most important part.
Right, yeah, he's a bisexual scout wizard. With regards to Foxy's, you have Andrew Martin, who is basically fighting the cause that people are very much fighting today, wanting to be seen as how they truly believe that they are. He was an android who finally won his fight to be seen as a human, basically progressing the rights forward throughout the entire movie that spans over, I believe we figured out to be 3 or 4 decades.
Robin Williams.
Yeah. Robin Williams, yeah.
Right.
Actually, isn't he? He's 200 years old by the time he dies.
Yeah. He's 244 years of age, making him the oldest man alive. However, he dies as they're announcing the fact that he's declared human. He doesn't actually die. Yeah, he doesn't actually live to see his dream become a reality.
As much as I like Constantine, and I do, his fantastic character. I think the show should have been given a lot more than it was given.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a general consensus. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gone up against Robin Williams, and it has to be Bicentennial Man. Robin Williams would just beat anyone.
Yeah, Neil did kind of fight that argument as well on it. So
yeah, definitely told you.
That's not well. I still highly recommend anyone to watch Bicentennial Man. It's a fantastic movie, especially now that you're at an age, like it is a children's movie in a sense, but now that you're actually at an age where when you watch it back, you can fully understand what's going on. Fuck, does it does pull at the heartstrings. It really does. Right.
It's surprisingly not a well-reviewed movie.
It's not at all. It's really not.
It was very underrated. Like it was under the radar kind of film. Like
it really is.
Well,
and
actually,
considering like the cast,
I popped onto Rotten Tomatoes there, and I think the
score 40% or something,
42%.
Yeah. I mean, you have a cast that consists of Oliver Platt, Sam Neill, Miss Honey from Matilda, because I can't pronounce her real name, and Robin Williams. And
is that Elsbeth something?
It's something like that. You'll know her when you see her. She's all Miss Honey like. But I honestly I'd highly recommend to watch it, especially just kind of as an adult, and when you can fully understand what the actual story and what the message is behind it. I just think it's well worth it. Right, our last two for the first round on the head-to-heads, we have Kira and Cutter. We'll start with Kira. What is your favorite character? I don't know why I'm Hagrid now.
Like I said earlier on, I have a very difficult time picking favorite anything. Just because like you can relate to so many different things at so many different times. It always
This
changes.
is why this is why we're doing multiple rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my favorites is Hawkeye from M.A.S.H.
Oh,
fuck's sake, Kira.
Hawkeye,
dare you.
Pierce.
Oh,
These are
fucker.
all some wonderfully left field choices here.
Yes.
Brilliant. Oh man.
Holy shit, Cutter is in for a fucking difficult.
Just end. Just
Yeah.
go, Dennis.
Don't
Actually,
even need
hold
to
on,
hear
hold on,
Dennis.
hold on. No, I want to stop here for a second. Are we going Alan Alda
Yes.
or are we
Yeah,
going Donald
Alan
Sutherland?
Alda.
Oh shit, man, Donald Sutherland wants fucking class as well.
I know, but I've watched the TV show so many times. Like when I was younger, like it was literally
Yeah.
on. So
What?
Alda's version had
I
a
want-
longer time to breed.
Yes.
But to be fair, it lasted longer than the war it was based on. Are we all straight away assuming the bus episode when we think of Hawkeye?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. That character I don't even think needs a fucking description as to why. If that's
Yeah.
your first instinct is when you think of that character is the episode on the bus when he's telling the woman to shut the chicken up.
Oh.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Dennis, do you even want to attempt this one or are you happy to forfeit your pick?
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Okay.
I'm still going to put my favorite choice ahead. It may not win, but
Go
it's
on.
still my favorite character.
Go on. Who's your pick?
So my favorite character is again one that hit all the three things that you were talking about: movie, TV, and book. It also inspired so many emos. Somebody that it was one of the first movies I ever really loved, like properly loved, and I still do to this day. And it is Eric Draven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is coming.
Lad, the views go to a fucking tiebreaker. I hate yous both. I hate you all.
So, like Foxy knows this from the discussion we had the other day. I'm a big Eric Draven fan. You want flawed? My fucking god.
Oh yeah.
So he is killed very quickly. If you're talking about the movie, and yeah, I am talking mainly about the movie.
We're going with the Brandon Lee version.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I was about to say, like she goes Alan Alden, like brilliant thing. I lose out to Robin Williams. You go for Brandon Lee, who died on set. I was like, oh man, people are playing the Trump.
So hold on
Yeah.
a second. Hawkeye is still realistically we should be doing it by the characters, not the actors. However, Robin Williams, he could have picked fucking Mrs. Doubtfire. He could have picked Mrs. Doubtfire, and I still would have picked that character because he brings those characters to
In
life.
fact, actually,
Actor has a lot to do with it.
I would have picked Mrs. Doubtfire as well for the way he hopped that lime off the back of Pierce Brosnan.
Okay. Cutter,
on my bucket list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cutter, we're gonna going into this one. Okay, so you have Eric Draven, who is shot on Hell's Night.
Yeah, so he's like
Devil's
literally,
Night,
he's literally like proposing to his girlfriend. It's very lovely. That's in the attic with candles everywhere, very romantic and all that. And they're really happy. He gets murdered, and
Fire hazard.
she then gets sexually assaulted and
She's
badly,
raped and beaten. We can say it.
and badly hurt. And basically, the cop that finds him tries to keep her going by not telling her that Eric is dead, but she
Played
eventually
by the
does.
amazing Ernie Lee and the Ernie Hudson.
She does eventually die. And basically a year later, we see a crow on their graves, at which point Eric Draven's brought back to life. He's all confused and everything. He goes back to his apartment where he suddenly finds everything he touches brings back memories of what happened. And he's not just seeing it from his eyes. He's reliving his own death, but he's also seeing it through Shelley's eyes as well. And so he has all this horror stuff, and he goes on this vengeance-filled warpath where he's just going to pick out everybody who was involved that night and murder / torture them just for vengeance. And
T-Bird, Tintin.
yeah, some
Skank.
fantastic names of bad guys. Just some of the best names of bad guys ever. Like Tintin.
No, Top Dollar was the club, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tintin, if I remember correctly,
He was the knives.
Yeah, he
Tintin,
stabs him in
Funboy.
each organ alphabetically
Fun
in
boy,
alphabetical
thank you.
order.
Now, this annoys me so much. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off. This annoys me so fucking much on this movie, right? The reason being is you cannot confirm that's what he did do.
That's true.
There's
That's
no
true.
fucking. There's no
That's
way
true.
they can confirm. It just sounds like an excellent line. It's an excellent line in the movie, and it sounds. Oh my god, that sounds horrific. And then you're like, actually, unless you were there to watch him do it, you have no way of knowing if he stabbed him in internal organs.
I think what's meant to be portrayed in that is that he died a slow death and he was tortured.
He died a very slow and painful death, which he deserves.
On the 30 hours.
Yeah.
He kills everyone over the course of 30 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, like, it's literally sent on. This is like Eric Draven's dirty weekend, right? This is like his weekend away from the missus. Like he's just letting all the stress out just before they spend eternity together in heaven. That's literally what he's doing. This is a massive piss up.
Yeah, no, I always thought it's 30 hours because that's the length of time it took him to die.
No, it took her to die.
No, it took Shelley.
It took Shelley
30 hours overall.
Yes.
He died pretty instantaneously.
He's shot and then thrown out the window.
Yes.
So he's already dead.
Oh, when he goes back into the apartment and he touches the thing.
The cat. He picks up Gabriel. He picks up the cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the cat, because the cat was in the apartment when it happened. So technically, the first point of view he sees is Gabriel's point of view,
he
which
goes,
is an excellent name
30
for the
hours
cat.
then. That's where it comes from. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not. It's when he touches the officer. The officer was the one who stayed with Shelley throughout the entire thing. So when he touches him, that's when all of everything that he saw through her, all the pain that she felt, that he felt for her, that's what Eric kind of is driven by then on that sense. But he's already kind of off on his. I think at this point, Tintin would have already been dead at this point.
Yeah, Tintin's dead before he meets with what's his name?
Before he meets Officer.
It begins
Officer
with an A.
Elmbry. Albrecht. Thank you.
Albrecht. That's it.
Yeah. Because he has to go. Because I think like to kind of find his way on this whole thing. Because I think it goes Tintin, Fun Boy, T-Bird, Skank's the last one to die. Then.
Yeah.
No, well, technically he's not, but he's the last of that group to die, and then it's the head fella who's played by the fucking Sheriff of Nottingham's lackey from Prince of Thieves. He's the one that dies last, and he's the one that's given the 30 hours.
The vision, I love the way that actually he's done is that like he puts his hands on his head and makes him basically relive, like, or not relive, but experience like all the pain all at from once. Both of them. From Shelley and him all at once, and so like it makes his eyes bleed and all that, and it's fucking like it's brilliant. And then at the end, you get that beautiful ending where they're reunited and they're together, and he passes on to the other side. It's not quite as happy in the comics, etc. Like so you kind of get why I think that's a polite way of putting it. It's not quite as happy.
Based on, I think it's based on the actual outcome of what happened to the actor themselves, and I'm nearly 100% sure it was the stunt double that actually had to do the final scenes for Eric Draven on this one. They had to change the ending, I would imagine, to kind of give it a bit more. They
needed a body double to finish off like a lot of the scenes because of the unfortunate
any of the rooftop scenes, all the body double. They had an amazing scene planned out that Brandon Lee was going to do, where he literally did a proper full-on guitar solo on top of the.
But any movie that you have a Dimebag Darrell guitar solo in also gets top fucking points.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they rewrote the start of the movie because at the time he died, they hadn't shot the beginning. So they totally rewrite the beginning.
A load of it had to be changed due to the unfortunate circumstances and accidental on set of when it wasn't even a bullet was still in a gun. But anyway, that's a tough for a totally different podcast.
Yes.
If we're based out, Jesus, These are two difficult ones actually on this one, because you have two characters that are like, I wouldn't say that like they're flawed in the way that like men are meant to be flawed, if you get me. Like a person is meant to be flawed kind of the way they have it, like, but however one of them is murdered in a quite gruesome way, and the other one is stuck fighting a war that he doesn't truly believe in, really realistically. On this one, he just wants to go home. He doesn't want to be there. They're not happy that they're there, considering that they were there longer after the war, technically, the actors. So on this sense here, you've got Hawkeye Pierce, wisecracking surgeon who enjoys a drink, who has to go through the severity of war, has a mental breakdown during while this is still going on, trying to pull himself together through the whole thing. And then you have Eric Draven, who's a character who's literally avenging the murder of both him and his fiance on this one, and trying to make sure that Sarah is kind of kept safe as well in all of this as well.
I didn't even mention Sarah. Yeah, that is put in there too.
You have got Sarah, who's also one into the mix. So you literally have a character who's not only trying to get vengeance, but he's also trying to make sure that if we're putting in a Batman sense, his ward is also kept safe in all this. And lads, you have a tough choice in here. So we'll start with Jonathan.
Honestly, even looking on the outside, that is a fucking tough choice. I love Hawkeye too. Like, that's a tough choice.
Like, it's kind of fitting because I literally had just edited the Crow episode of
so the Crow would be fresh in your head.
So there's a bit of recency bias there, but at the same time, like there's actually two weird feelings going on here. I've got the recency bias of getting a great, like, bring up to speed about the Crow and Eric Draven and everything that happens to him, but then I'm also getting the reminder of watching that episode of M.A.S.H. And in a sense, it's coming out of nowhere a little bit, because like, you know, like we know M.A.S.H., we've watched it. Like there is a kind of like very strong sense of like trench humor in it, but it's also the fact that like everyone's trapped in a certain way. There's a weird style of comedy in it, and a real style of character. And then suddenly, just out of nowhere, essentially the straightest man on the cast cracks in such a way.
You have the harsh realities.
Yeah, but it's also that, and like when you crack, like when someone like him cracks, it just really illustrates how everyone else is feeling. So like it's like a perfect like nutshell of how everyone is in the same situation. Well, him and how, like, because I remember him being quite literally straight, like he's such a moral code and ethics and all this sort of stuff. We shouldn't be doing this. And again, it's all bundled up in this kind of like in this humorous way. And then suddenly he makes a huge mistake, and you cannot forgive himself for that. And just remember watching that scene and going, fucking hell. Like that is as rotten as it gets. It's a kidney punch of an emotion. So yeah, I have to go with Hawkeye. Like I have to.
It always reminds me of that, like the finale of Blackadder Goes Forth, where it's just
I can't.
This is such a fun show. What the fuck have you done? What?
Yes.
No.
I have a cunning plan. Really, Bodrick?
It was the finality of
fox.
It, you know.
Yeah. Cunning as a fox who got made head at Oxford University for the Department of Cunning. Yes, sir. Well, we'll have to wait.
Yeah.
On my whistle.
Sure.
And then
it was like, it'll have to wait. Surely it was better than my plan of pretending to be mad. I mean,
Wibble.
you would notice a madman around here.
Yeah, that's another one as well. As soon as they go over the trenches and it fades out to the actual poppy fields of France, you're just kind of like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But it's very much like that scene to me as well, where it's kind of out of left field a little bit.
Yeah, you're not expecting it to.
Now, M.A.S.H. did do a lot more, you know, occasional serious stuff than like the likes of Blackadder.
They flirted with it.
Yeah.
They never actively just like.
But
it hits you with
it. To me, it just that particular scene hits me like Blackadder did, where it's like, oh fuck, what the hell?
Yeah.
This is meant to be a funny show.
M.A.S.H. had an excellent rule in it, that no matter what was happening in the surgical scenes, if they were cracking jokes and it's a joke on it, there is to be no laugh track played, because no one should be laughing in that room. That was a rule that they had on the show, and that the actors had agreed, and the creators had agreed and said, we do not, because they will crack it. They will, maybe if it's scripted in it, there'll be a joke in it, but you do not put a laugh track on that, because there's no laughing matter. No one's to laugh in the surgical room.
Another reason for that, it came from like just the second season. The reason why that rule was put into play is because they wanted to make the impact of the news of Henry Blake to be more impactful. Because
that fucking hit me as well. That one did, when they find out that his chopper was shot down.
Yeah. because like they really wanted to play that up, and it's like to let you see the raw emotion.
It was
of
also
them
a thing the
reacting to that.
cast, but the cast weren't told that he died.
Exactly.
So they only found out, the actual cast when they were shooting that episode only found out that the character Henry Brake had died was when they were shooting that scene.
Yeah.
It's very alien.
So they were
bastards.
supposed to react like the character,
Yeah.
like the full-on character, just react. And it is, you see it. Like it's genuine reaction to a character that obviously, like, if you're doing a show, like you do get attached to certain characters, but I mean, like, obviously they're living it where like they're trying to be these characters. And yeah, so that's why that rule was put into play. Like, we won't have any laugh tracks like in those scenes, because if there is ever a time for that kind of moment, then we can do that. But no, like that bus scene, like that bus episode is like what you said. The show did flirt with like something serious every now and then, but goddamn, like this was just like
It did a wee
a
bit
proper
more than
hump.
it did a wee bit more than flirt with something serious.
Oh,
I mean,
they were like
the fucking theme tune was called "Suicide is
Suicide
Painless,"
is Painless.
which, ironically enough, funny enough, was written by
It was the 11-year-old.
Yeah, it was written by one of the producer's son.
One of the producer's son during the movie this was in the movie. The producer's son was 11, and he literally wrote them "Suicide is Painless" for the scene in the movie where the dentist decides because he can't get it up anymore, he wants to kill himself. And they literally have a Last Supper scene in the movie of it where everyone's saying goodbye. They slip him a Viagra and they send one of the nurses into him, and then the next day he's back to himself, like he's happy as can be, totally forgetting over the fact that he wanted to kill himself, sort of thing. Like, M.A.S.H is one of those excellent movies. The movie itself is absolutely brilliant. It's so good with its dark humor, and the cast that they have for it is phenomenal. The cast in that movie is phenomenal, right? Then they bring it in and decide to turn it into a TV show, which is literally going to be shown. This is your tea time telly, right? So this is the Irish version of Heartbeat that's shown in the fucking US, sort of thing. Like, you're literally sitting down for your dinner and you were going to watch M.A.S.H. When you were going on to watch that, you know that you're going to watch a comedy sort of thing. But then again, they threw episodes in there which we were like, do you know what? Fuck yous. We're actually going to show you the harsh reality of what this war really was. There's one particular episode where Hawkeye has to deal with two brothers. One is fighting for the north and one is fighting for the south. So the father sends them both to each side because he wants at least one son to come out on the winning side.
Yeah.
To actually carry on the name. That's fucking dark as hell. And then when you realize that's actually something that really would have happened.
Yep.
So like there's no, like, in this sense here, they have an amazing balance, but you can't imagine that it's always going to come down to the episode when he's literally just telling her to shut the chicken up. And then, because as an audience and you're watching it, you're looking at the woman holding the chicken. And that's the real kicker on it. It's only when he's talking to the therapist. It's only when he's telling the story afterwards and he's talking to the therapist, he breaks down completely. And Alan Alda plays this beautifully as well. Like, he does such a good job on it. And then he's like, it was her baby. And at that point, when it drops it, you're kind of like, no, it wasn't it. And then it shows you the actual scene of what was actually happening. And she just suffocates the child, which again is probably something that would have happened anyway in any fucking type of war. He played it so fucking well. Like, oh, I feel sorry for you having to pick on this one, but who are you actually going for, Foxy, on it?
I'm gonna go Alan Alda because like that scene is very powerful. In that, like, it stems from real life.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not gonna discount like Eric Draven, like the character and the story behind it is like, it's very dark but also told beautifully well.
Oh, I think Eric Draven was put up at a disadvantage on this one. I think I might use a veto to bring him back in a later round. Neil, Jerry, who do you want to do either, like, realistically only one of you kind of has to go for a win on this one? Who do you want to go for? Who wants to go first?
Do you want to go,
Jerry?
Okay.
I'll have to do it right. I will go with Eric Draven because I had more of a connection with. I never watched a tremendous amount of M.A.S.H. I have seen the bus episode you're talking about. It's called something like Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen or something like that. It's the name of the episode.
Yeah.
And no, I quite liked Hawkeye as a character in that he was just a bit of a nonconformist. Like, he never wear a gun. Didn't he fire his gun? Like,
He has to
No, he told his gun it was fired.
Yes.
He's this one episode where he speaks to the gun. He goes, "Oh, you're fired." After he's made wear it.
Yeah, it's so the surgeons themselves. So basically, anyone who was drafted in for the M.A.S.H unit on this one, they are actually legitimate surgeons. Not one of them was actually a soldier. So their viewpoint on this one is that realistically, a doctor who's been drafted into a war that they don't want to really be a part of, their entire kind of standpoint should be: I don't want to hold a gun. I'm not firing a gun. I took an oath never to harm a person.
Yeah, he goes even further. He doesn't even wear his insignia. So like, it wasn't until like a good couple of seasons in I even realized that he was a captain.
Sure, he barely salutes. He
barely
salutes. I think it's something that you could think you can count on one hand the amount of times. And I think one of them was when Radar was leaving.
Yeah.
You just that got me.
Yeah, no, but
all right, we know who the fucking M.A.S.H freak is.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things I really liked is I just loved Eric Draven, which was just I'm into. I have a baby to take care of. I'm into spirits of vengeance. That's my thing.
All right, that's fine. Okay, you go take care of the baby. Jerry.
Right.
If you go for Eric Draven, we'll go to myself then for the tiebreaker. Or you can go to Hawkeye Pierce, which will send him through to the next round.
Okay. I'm gonna have to admit something here now. You've
never watched M.A.S.H?
No. I've never watched The Crow.
Neither have I.
Wow.
Here, I put that on the list for you. So I'm actually a little bit disappointed that you said you haven't watched it. You've had an awful lot of time in lockdown.
I've never watched The Crow, but I wasn't somebody who watched M.A.S.H religiously or anything like that. But I have watched M.A.S.H. Exactly. I have watched M.A.S.H. And Hawkeye, he is a fantastic character. And Alan Alden, isn't it? Alan Alden?
Yeah.
Alan Alden, yeah.
He plays the character so brilliantly. So I'm gonna have to go for Hawkeye because, as I say, I don't really have that much knowledge of Eric Draven. Now, Dennis's description was amazing, absolutely brilliant. But I'm gonna have to go with Hawkeye because I know Hawkeye. Not as well as the girls, but he's great character, great actor. Series is fantastic. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Hawkeye.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so going into this one, right? So we have Andrew Martin, who beat John Constantine. We have Jimmy the Hand, again, sounds like a Scorsese character, who beat Benjamin Sisko. Okay, and then we have Hawkeye Pierce, which, I mean, to be fair, his name is Hawkeye, for Christ's sakes. Hawkeye Pierce, who has beaten Eric Draven, right, going into this one. So we can do another round then for yourselves, right? And then it will literally be going in against them, all right? Or we can do I can throw in a pick of my own, and then you can do 2 rounds until you have a winner. So it's up to you on what you want to do on it.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah.
Which one?
The second one, your one. Your pick.
Okay, so I'm going to throw. Okay, so we'll fill Neil in when he comes back. He can watch it backwards. So the pick that I actually had for my character, which is he's book and movie, and the pick that I had for one of my favorite characters was Indigo Montoya from The Princess Bride.
Great.
Good
choice. Great choice.
I adore. Okay, so I saw the movie first, right? For this one, and actually Neil's coming back. I'll wait a second. All right, I'll do a very quick rewind. Baby, okay. Right. So what I'm going to do is, so we have our 3 picks. I'm just conscious of time, and then again, you do actually have responsibilities, right? So I'm going to throw my pick into it, and then we're going to go battle them against. So we'll have 2 rounds and then left on this one. All right, Neil.
Yes.
Grant. Okay. So the pick that I'm throwing into the mix is Indigo Montoya from The Princess Bride. right? So the reason being is like on this one. So I saw the movie first, right? And I love him I love the Spaniard on this one. I think he's a fantastic character in it. And his backstory that he has as to why he became the greatest sword fighter in the world is literally to avenge his father's death against the six-fingered man. It's just, it's so wonderfully done, and how he kind of describes the whole kind of situation as to what had happened when he was a young boy. His father crafted the sword. He's so, like, the way that Mandy portrays him in the movie is fantastic, because there is real emotion behind it, because he had just lost his father himself, and he was feeling this as like literally his father died of cancer on this one, and it was just okay. He's kind of like a Richter, kind of using like a real life experience. It's like, okay, I'm going to channel this anger and this grief, and I'm going to just throw it all into the character on this one. And it's when they finally finds fucking Christopher Guest, who's like in the castle in this, and he's like, I'll give, like, he has him pinned back, and he's like, I'll give you whatever you want, and he's like, whatever I want, anything in the world. And he just wants, I want my father back, you son of a bitch. And then he stabs him, and you're just like, oh, I fucking want him back for you so badly. And you know that as he's saying this, he's like, that's
He's
literally the
feeling
man.
himself.
He's
real.
like, it's like, you were the cancer that took my father, and I want him back, and I don't get to have him back, so you don't get to live either, sort of situation. He's such, and like the cast of that movie as well, they have a dynamic that you can't replace it, or you can't kind of recreate it. So I know for a while that they had talked about doing a reboot and remaking it, and the cast of it kind of came out and been like, why the fuck would you do that? And Carly Lewis had the greatest response ever to it, which was there's oh my god, there's an abundance of, or there's a shortage of perfect movies in the world. It would be perfect, it would be ridiculous or something like to ruin this one. And it's like, he's literally just taken a line from the movie and he's put it into real life. And it's like, that's fucking, yeah, as you fucking wish, sir. Like, it has this, there's a following behind it. I've never met someone who has ever told me that they didn't like this movie. And when they talk about this movie, it's always like one of the first things that they say on it is, my name is Indigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. It's one of the first things that anyone that you run into will talk about this movie. Then they talk about Andre the Giant, or then it's everything you turn into, you say in a conversation is inconceivable. Like, it's one of those movies that you kind of carry on with you. Plus it has fucking Columbo in it, for God's sakes. Like, it is the perfect movie on this one. But Indigo Montoya, I think, is
He's just in
one
the
of the
beginning of
greatest
it, isn't he?
characters.
He's in
He's the grandfather. He's in
Yeah.
the beginning. He's slightly in the middle of it with Fred Savage, and he's at the very end when it's literally, he's like, maybe you should come back tomorrow and read the story again, and it's as you wish, and it's just like, oh, that's so fucking wholesome. I love it. But
yeah, you kind of were
Indigo,
thinking, it was like,
he's
hang on, this is
probably,
Columbo. He's meant to reveal who it is. You know,
Yeah.
you're like,
One more
actually, no, it's
thing.
this guy.
it's one of, it is though, it's but it's one of those things. I just think he is one of probably the better characters, because again, he is also a flawed character, because when he thinks he's failed, straight away he's like, I'm going off to get fucking drunk. And I'm like, I relate to you, sir. I relate to you in every fucking aspect of what's going on in your life. But this is, I think he's kind of one of those characters where it's just like, yeah, you're top dog on this one. Okay. All right. So if we're going into it this way, right, we have Andrew Martin, Jimmy the Hand, Hawkeye Pierce, and Indigo Montoya. This is a fucking Justice League and a half, lads. I am not even kidding here.
I am sorry, Amy. I'm going to have to nip off.
You took a phone call, that's fine. Down to Andrew Martin, Jimmy the Hand, Hawkeye Pierce, and Indigo Montoya. I think it's only fair to kind of keep these within the same kind of realm of what their character is doing on this one, right? So if we're going to do, let's go fantasy and fantasy on this one. So you've got Jimmy the Hand and you've got Indigo Montoya. Jerry, realistically speaking, right? If we're doing this as, let's say, I've a top trump card in my hand here. I mean, I'm going to use sword fighting as I believe what my strongest kind of thing is. So both these characters seem to have something very much in common, and that seems to be dedication. Would you agree?
Yes.
both characters are dedicated to the cause.
Absolutely, yeah. Jimmy is very dedicated to the man who basically saved him, which is Prince Aruta, and he looks to Aruta as a father figure.
Okay. Whereas Indigo his dedication is basically he wants to get revenge. On this one, he literally just his entire story arc is a revenge story on this one. He wants to get the six-fingered man. He wants to be able to avenge his father's death. He wants to look the man in the eye who killed his father in front of him and basically do the same thing to him. So, guys, if we're judging it in this sense here, okay, so Jimmy the Hand's at a massive disadvantage here on this one, right? Because only Jerry has ever kind of seen him in action, so to speak, on this one, right? So if you're basing this on just what me and Jerry have said, like this man, Jimmy has dedicated his life to the prince in this one. He's basically kind of worked his way up. Indigo has dedicated his life to revenge on this one. Who are you going to go for?
Funnily enough, I have not seen nor read either of these. I've not seen The Princess Bride, and I've not read any of.
Let me get my gun.
Yeah. So I've actually flipped the coin, and I'm going to go with Jimmy the Hand.
Ooh,
interesting. Okay.
Also, Jerry tells a lot better. You've given out to me a few times. You've given out to me a few times, Amy. So
that's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm just gonna cut your fucking mic off the next time you're talking, you son of a bitch.
Neil, did you hear how she said that's fine? Did you hear how she said it?
Oh yeah, look at that.
I
put it this way, bud.
Smile. Angry smile.
Put it this way:
look at her.
if you weren't bald, the next time she sees you, she'd rip your fucking hair out.
Oh no, she's gonna put a wig on you and then shave it off. That's how angry she's gonna be.
That's true.
She'll buy you a hair transplant.
That's fine. No. I would make sure. See the way he kind of still has the stubble. I'd find a way to make sure the stubble never came back.
Wow.
Excuse me, this is a proper goatee. Biatch.
Talking about around your head. Although to be fair, I did say to Jonathan once, I was like, you've just got an egg in a nest. Like you just need to like get rid of it.
That's true. That was a rough part of lockdown.
That was fucking funny.
Yeah.
Kira, who are you gonna go for on this one?
I'm gonna have to go with Montoya.
Oh, okay. I like how Kira doesn't elaborate the way Neil did. She's like, I'm not getting on Amy's bad side. Fuck this.
No.
Kira's like, I'm in a fucking group chat with her. I'd never hear the end of it after admitting to the crow shit. So it's like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, there you
go. Jonathan, are you gonna go with Jimmy the Hand or Indigo Montoya?
I'm swaying towards Montoya on this one. Mainly because I'd like to know, I know where I stand with Montoya. With Jimmy the Hand, it's a very good, obviously a very good premise, and there's clearly with the amount of like books he's had, because he's a character that's emerged from it, is what I'd say with what Jerry was saying. There's clearly something to him. There was something that caught readers' attention in a sense, because as you said, Jerry, you kind of took away from the main character at some points. He was that intriguing. He was that the actual progression was there, was evident. So yeah, I'm swaying slightly towards Montoya just from actually watching the movie and knowing about it. So yeah, it's a tentative Montoya for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I've totally looked up where for the magician and like
So
Fox.
Yeah. So for I'm kind of on the same boat, because like with Jerry's description, like it does actually genuinely have me intrigued to actually go and look this story up. But I know a bit more. Like I've watched The Princess Bride and I really love the film, so I'm going with Inigo Montoya.
Foxy, you're dead to me. You're dead.
Sorry,
to me.
pal.
Dead.
Don't worry.
At least I let him down gently, Foxy.
Give him a hug. Give him a hug, and he'll get over it.
I'll give Foxy credit is that he's the only person that actually correctly pronounced his first name.
Yes.
It's
Inigo
Montoya.
There's no D. It's not indigo. Indigo is a color.
I know, but I'm sick, and you're just like picking me for my disability. So I appreciate that, Neil, very much. Thank you.
She has a condition where she just calls people colors.
You're also talking to a woman who can't pronounce the long version of hippo. So I mean, like,
Hippopotamus.
are you honestly surprised?
Pronouncing hippopotamus.
Anyway,
That'll
I'm
win.
Sorry.
for-
Whoa,
wait,
whoa,
wait,
whoa, whoa,
sorry.
whoa. No,
Yeah,
you've
whoa,
said
whoa.
it now. You've said it now. You need to rewind.
No, wait. You
What
cannot
word can you not
pronounce-
say?
You
I
cannot
can't say the long version of hippo, and I can't say the long version
Hippopotamus.
of rhino.
Rhinoceros.
Right. Okay. Why can you not say them?
It's literally it's too much of a tongue twister for me to actually get it out of my mouth. It's like literally I cannot form.
But you can do it in a sequence, yeah?
defense.
Sorry,
It,
it
all,
looks like
all
my
together,
camera, it looks like I'm buffering
doesn't
here,
work.
but I am actually shocked to silent. What? That is the weirdest impediment I've ever heard of.
So hippopotamus.
It's literally it's not just it goes. It's
rhinoceros.
particularly an awful lot of like real names for dinosaurs as well. It's just I can't. It's whatever way. It's like won't I.
All the vowels.
This is literally what happens. It makes me panic. It gets it just kind of gives like a stutter. Like you've all like put me on the spot now on it, and it's
All right,
freaking me out in a
we'll
sense,
leave
so
you alone.
It's making it
Forget about
difficult now for me to actually
Let's
speak.
go.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
Oh my god, my entire body's gone.
Anxiety.
Wait, if your body's gone too
I'm
hot,
just like-
then it's not too late to save the OnlyFans cast then.
And you've brought me back into it. Thank you.
There you go.
Am I the only person sticking around for that?
Where do I sign up?
Yeah. I get it on the playback later on. It's grand.
Yeah, I'll send you a free 30-day link.
Is it a monthly thing or can I pay for the
Yeah,
year?
she's giving me like a free 30-day pass, so I'll ping you one there.
Neil, you're just cheap. I'll pay for the year, Amy. No problem.
And if you sign up to Skill to Surfshark for 30 days, you also get a promo code. for it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I had to get a sponsorship somehow.
Right. Moving on to Andrew Martin and Hawkeye.
Oof.
Yeah.
So
Even
if
I
we're
know
gonna move
where
on
this
to
is
Andrew
going.
Martin and Hawkeye. Well, hold on a second. Now, bear in mind, you have to. We're picking a top trump on this one. So there's two things that these two characters actually do have in common. It's literally what they gave their fellow man in this kind of sense here as well. All right. So you have two people, Hawkeye, who was a surgeon, Andrew Martin, who literally created new versions like of organs to basically keep you alive. As a form of kind of transplantry in situations like this. I mean, both of them kind of contribute something equally massive in a sense, and both in the field technically of medicine on this one. So, I mean, you can fight your kind of cause on that one because it's something that they kind of have in common, in a sense. Or if there's a trait that you know that they have that you think this would trump anything that the android has, or if you think this would trump anything that Hawkeye has, go for it.
I'm gonna so mine isn't for or against. It's more just as a compliment to both of them, because both of them have a great humanity about them. Like both characters do, and it's always present throughout the whole film as well as the whole series, respectively. And I'm not voting because like it's my fucking pick. So
No, we know you're not voting. You and Kira aren't voting at all. But you're fighting your cause here.
yeah, no, like again, like what I said is how I feel about it. So like there you go. That's my argument.
Okay. Kira, do you want to have a rebuttal, or are you happy just to let Hawkeye walk away with a win?
But it is, in fairness, it is hard. Like Hawkeye has a lot more material than Bicentennial Man, so there's a lot more like arc.
Hence why
Like,
I
yeah.
said pick a trait, but neither of you are attempting to do that. So I gave you the option.
Give me a chance, like for like with
That's more foxy than you, to be
he's
fair.
so irreverent while trying to maintain his humanity. Like
I think that's the key word there, isn't it? It's the humanity of both characters. Where do you think both of them lie? Because much with like for what it's worth, I'm going with Hawkeye on this one, and the reason I'm going for him is because again, based off the kind of comparison of both characters, Bicentennial Man is kind of making his own way, and that is obviously a very human thing to do. But I think the actual like the journey that Hawkeye will go on in terms of like even just talking about the incident on the bus and so forth, like it kind of shows that even the greatest amongst them can oftentimes crack and make mistakes and falter. And that's a very human thing to do, because again, like, I don't remember many of the other characters from M.A.S.H, but like, not like, obviously none of them are perfect, and Hawkeye is the closest to like a protagonist that the show has, in a sense, because you're kind of seeing it through his eyes. The commentary is through him, and in a way, like, he has almost kind of succumbed to his world, in a sense where, like, he's kind of been above this shit for so much, and then suddenly he makes one of the biggest mistakes that anyone has ever made on the show, you know. And the fact that now he has to come to terms with that, and what is essentially on his mistake based out of stress and panic and so forth, very, again, human emotions, is something that, like, a lot of people would have had to do themselves in reality. So the fact that that's been retold in such a dramatic way, that's probably what has me swayed here, you know. The fact that, like, it's very grounded, it's really realistic, you know, this has happened to somebody, and it's been told by such a fantastic actor and told in such a fantastic show. It just packs a double punch that way, you know.
Okay, so Hawkeye, on that one, I'm gonna hold on to my one till the end, my vote until the end, because now that we no longer have Cutter here, it is kind of, unfortunately, I am going to be the swaying vote, so I will count for 2 on this one. Jerry.
It's actually a tough choice for me, because number one, I love Bicentennial Man, but it was because of Foxy that I got knocked out in the previous round. Kind of want to go against him, so
you're allowed to do that. If you want to do that, you're allowed.
Not like, and you know what, and I like Kira, and Foxy's a prick, so I don't know what to do.
It is.
No, I haven't made the choice yet.
He's conflicted.
Even though he went against me, prick, I'm gonna go with Bicentennial Man.
Okay.
Oh, right.
You want to go with the Bicentennial Man, who knocked you out actually in the first round? Or
I will also weigh in that, yes, Foxy is a prick as well. No, I will. I am actually going to go with Andrew Martin as well, in that you're talking about the humanity of a character. I think in not being human, Andrew displays quite a lot of different facets of humanity. At the beginning, when he's making clocks and shit like that, he basically has no, covers over the slavery aspect there. Then he wants to become human. So you've got the trans aspect there. He wants to become something that he feels that he is. So he's got that aspect of it there, which is quite now, like, it's something that we're experiencing now. And then afterwards, then he wants his marriage validated, because he wants to be human. So he wants the ability to marry, to actually, you know, confirm the people that he loves, and the people that you love go to the very core of your humanity. Finding that not actually being human initially, Andrew Martin is actually far more shows far more human sort of passage there. Whereas, don't get me wrong, like Alan Alda, the Hawkeye characters, it's very dense and layered, but he really is just a guy in a shitty situation. You know, he gets hammered roughly every second episode or something like that, which would surely endear me to him. But we're going with fantastic characters, and I think, yeah, Andrew Martin's a really, really good one in that. Over the space of the film,
Hawkeye distills his own gin.
Yes, he does distill his own gin. So look, yeah, I'm like, he is a proper booze hound.
BJ.
But yeah, I'm fairly certain actually Andrew would have done it if he'd gotten making distilleries rather than clocks. Fuck it, yeah, he'd have done it. Yeah, but yeah, I'll go with Andrew Martin.
So, on this one, I'll be honest with you. My pick on this one was Andrew anyway, and it's purely because of Neil had actually hit every point to hit on it with this one. Is because the character of Andrew Martin goes through nearly every single form of, like, probably one of the worst kind of situations that human can find themselves in. Andrew actually through the space of around 21 million. Right?
Mm.
Because he could start as literally as a slave in the Martin household. Well, okay, granted, they tell him that he's not like, you work for us, but you're a member of the family, and that's what they do tell him at this one. And he does end up going in making up his own business, but literally none of that money is his. It's going to his owner that
He
goes
does
to the
try
Martin
and buy his
family.
freedom, doesn't he? And in
Yeah.
Well, see,
attempting
this
to
is the
do
thing,
so, he actually
right?
winds up getting banished.
Exactly right in this sense here. So what happens in this one, then they decide we're going to educate him now in this sense here. So it's kind of as he kind of grows, as they realize that he does, like, he's quite like, he's different. He's a different kind of android in this sense, is that he does actually have a realization that he has a switch that's kind of been turned on, basically, to say that you're actually more than what you're made to be. It's like you are literally the master of your own destiny. You are not just here to appease your owner or to appease the family that you work for. You are your own person, and you should create your own future. And that's kind of the process that he goes through on this one. And it is very modern with the situation that a lot of people find themselves in nowadays. Like, he does not want to be known as an android. He wants to be seen as a human. It's basically like people in the trans community. They don't want to be seen as men or women, or vice versa. And that's the struggle that they have to go through, just to be recognized, just to have rights. I mean, it's late, like, for a movie that came out in 1999, to have this is kind of the hard hitting point. And this is why I say, as you watch it as an adult and you actually really kind of look at what the story it is trying to behind to tell you. I mean, this is a real moment. It's like, if you were a child watching this and a child can understand, why don't they just let him be human?
Mm.
That's literally a child's point of view. And there's, oh, well, why not let him be human? If he wants to be human, let him be human. It's literally the red tape that stops all this from happening. It's people that are scared of what's different, that they decide, well, we don't want you to have rights in this type of sense. So it's, again, you pointed out that he wants his marriage to be recognized, but because, like, it's the same when you have if it's gay marriage, in a sense that up till very recently it wasn't recognized. It's only been legal for, like, sort of thing. It's like, so it hits on so much shit that's going on in the world today. Bicentennial, man, fucking hell, it hit the nail on the head on it already.
Well, funnily enough, is also when you mentioned that it's a movie made back in 1999, based on two short stories that were written in the mid 70s.
Like, it's so before its time.
Yeah.
And I just think the character itself, this is why I think it's so overrated. More people need to watch this particular movie, in the senses, maybe you will actually understand why certain people are going through what they're going through, is because you literally are ignoring them. You're treating them like they don't have rights, in this sense. And I think it is one of those movies, like, watch this and then fucking come back to me and tell me that he did not deserve rights in the end, because you're denying it to so many people anyway nowadays. So Andrew would always have gotten my vote on that one, to be honest with you. Hawkeye, well, cracking character. Like, he is a cracking character, but again, Neil hit on the head. He's a normal bloke just put in a shitty situation. And I mean, I think Andrew struggles over, or literally will overtake Hawkeye's struggles in this one. It's just purely because you can actually base his struggles to so many people in the world nowadays, I think, and that's kind of what kind of wins it over for me. So we're literally going. We're going into fantasy and into reality now at this point, because the two finals on this one is Andrew versus Montoya.
Tricky one, isn't it?
So, well, I actually don't think so. I think this is actually very easy, realistically, in comparison, after what we've already said. But that's just me looking at it. I honestly think it is kind of an easy choice in this one. If we're going for, like, obviously both are fictional characters, in a sense here, but I think one of them has a story which is, I mean, if you were looking at it nowadays, you're kind of like, dude, just let the police deal with it. Whereas if you look at the other characters, you're kind of like, no, fuck you, I'm solidarity, like, I stand with you on this one. So I mean, like, if we were voting for it, I'm not voting for my own character, realistically speaking. I thought I had a winner, but the more we've kind of looked into Foxy's choice on this one, that cunning fox, as Baldrick would say, has really, you've come up with, I think, quite an unbeatable character here.
Cunning fox, cunning prick.
Okay, it might not be unbeatable to Jerry.
Yeah,
it might not be unbeatable to
out of
Jerry.
spite more than anything else.
But yeah, we'll just go from there then, won't we? Wow, I really have no morals left.
Nope. You
I
don't.
like how you just like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing at all.
Yeah.
I have
Feels
been,
like I'm wearing
honestly,
nothing at all.
I've
Nothing
been
at all.
I've had my phone in my hand a couple of times in the last few minutes. I was like, well, I just text her and say, put the fucking things away. They're distracting me.
Do you really
There
want
you
them
go.
put away?
Yes, because they're distracting.
Sorry, what? I
I'll
wasn't
name it
listening.
Jimmy and the Hand.
Look, I've just muted you all. I don't give a fuck.
Hold on. Jimmy, meet Hand.
And now you just ruined $22 for Jerry.
23. 23.
Oh no, there's one that's fine. There's one that's okay.
I guarantee I'm going to go on Pornhub and there's going to be a Jimmy the Hand fucking porno. I guarantee it.
Jimmy the hand job.
Real 32. Is it real 32? Is that
34.
34. Real 34. Yes.
Well done, Foxy.
Okay.
You exposed yourself.
So I,
fell for the
not
trap.
in the way that he usually gets paid for.
No.
God bless Reddit.
Yeah.
Oh, so Foxy has an OnlyFans as well. Okay.
Yeah.
oh yeah, all
Only
of us,
foxes.
all of us at Nerds R Us had to actually get one. It was at Jonathan's insistence. So you
Yeah.
probably should actually be getting an email soon enough, Jerry, about setting up your own.
Yep.
Why would I need to set up my own? I've had one for like 2 years.
Oh, you're gonna have to link it in then with Jonathan.
He's been doing it for free.
Work with us here. Work with us here. Come on.
Yeah.
What? Fuck no, I've not been doing it for free. I can tell you that now.
Okay.
Yes.
Going back before we go really off on this one. Are we all kind of more or less in agreement here on this one that Andrew would actually be the winner?
Yes.
I
Yes.
think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
we're all in agreement that Andrew is the winner on this one. Okay. Foxy, well done. You've won. I hope you're happy.
I
Hollow victory,
believe
but
that
whatever.
prick is after winning.
Don't worry, there's no prize.
Sorry,
Oh,
like
good.
it's not like I win every time.
That is
Very.
true, actually. Yeah, you are
Mm.
quite the loser. Okay.
Just ask his missus.
Fucking hell.
That was Jerry. I do like the fact that me and Jerry decided to tag team on that one without even realizing we were going to tag team on it. I appreciate it. Okay, so look, I actually enjoyed going. Sorry, I actually enjoyed
Fair.
going through
Thank
those
you.
ones. You're welcome. I enjoyed actually going through this one on our favorite characters. So I do think that the next time I kind of hope to get us all around to talk about characters again, in a sense, I think I do want to see who has the best villain up their sleeve.
That's true. We had no villains.
Oh, I have one.
So there's a reason why.
Immediately have one.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I've done this, and there's a reason why I'm keeping note of who our winner is on this round. So we've had the favorite character. I want to see who our favorite villain is, and then we'll probably go and let's see who the worst character of a franchise might have been. Who's the most underrated character of a franchise we're in? And then all of a sudden we have a bit of a table going on. So let's see who Andrew's going to be competing up against. Yeah. So
Well, I'm going to win the next one. I'm going to win the next one.
So the next time we're coming to see, this is the thing is like the only reason like I understand that it's unfair, but seeing as I am the host, I am going to get a buy-in on my ones. That's why I'm always just going to throw a character in on this one. However, I will say if someone picks a character that I had entailed, I'm happy to go with anything else unless we have Fran on. Then I'm not giving up my character to him because that's an immediate death sentence. So coming into the next time you see us on the bi-monthly box set, we are going to be doing our favorite villains. We're bringing the villains to the table on this one. So again, we're going to keep it to the same, more or less kind of the same categories. However, we're also going to throw in the comic books onto this one as well, just to spice it up a little bit more. All right. So we've got movies, TV shows, you've got books, and you've got comic books. If you just want to throw comics and books into the same one, feel free to do that. I am going to put one rule in place though for this one. You cannot pick an animal antagonist. So the shark from Jaws, the piranhas from Piranha, crocodile, like stuff like that.
Well, hold
Water
on,
ship
okay.
down.
Okay, he wasn't my pick, but what if somebody wanted to pick Scar?
Good point.
Animation. if it's an animated movie and every single character in it is actually going to be an animal, then yes, that will be allowed on it. What I mean is if the antagonist that they're going up against is like,
A creature.
for example, the shark from Jaws.
Yeah.
No.
Like you can't
Even
pick
though,
like in that shit like M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Happening, like the air.
yeah, it's
Can't
not the
pick the
fucking
plants.
wind. Yeah,
For
like it's
fuck's
not the
sake, I'm
wind,
gonna
and
pick
it's
the
not the
plants.
plants that are doing this on it. All right, so
I've got one, and it's gonna knock the bollocks out of everyone else's.
okay. Well, look, if Amy can, if Amy, why am I talking? I'm not The Rock. Why am I talking myself in the third person? If
You
I'm
need to have
able
final
to,
credits.
I do actually. It's really unsettling. What I'm going to try and do then is, I'll try and do this one then monthly. To keep on, it's just going to depend on what my work schedule is like on this one. I know I'm fucking putting it into
You
the
have me
universe.
shocked.
Like me saying I do a podcast every week.
You have
Yeah.
video evidence of this, John. Fucking
I am going to keep this up every single time it's rescheduled.
So,
I'm going to try.
yeah,
This came out of the horse's mouth. Like you said, you were going to do this now monthly. So good luck. Good luck with that one.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that that's the phrase. I understand that is the phrase, but never, ever, ever fucking put horse and me in the same goddamn sentence, you son of a bitch.
Rephrase that, please.
She's not fucking Princess Catherine, like, it doesn't work that way.
I am not an episode of fucking fact or bloody fiction, sir. How dare you?
Are you still upset about
so
horse?
There's so much I could say right now, but it's just so inappropriate. So
I know this
stop.
thing
We're just gonna wait until the Zoom woman tells us we're not recording.
Yeah, hold on to it for then. So hopefully, next we will actually do. So this is obviously coming out in July. Yeah, you'll have this out in July. So we'll have our next round.
Didn't say fucking what year though.
I'm gonna hold it down to the 1st of August just to fucking spite you.
I think it's gonna take you a lot longer to cut out all of the risque jokes out of this one,
and the ones that could get me sacked.
Yeah,
yes. I think to be fair, actually, yeah, and any sackable, offensible like wording it does actually get removed by Jonathan because it knows it's going to fall back on him as well. But yeah, so next month then we'll be doing we'll do our villains next month. So everyone get your thinking caps on for doing this one. And again, also the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park do not count. They are also
that was my pick. Come on.
The T-Rex.
Yeah.
If it was the T-Rex, he's not the villain.
Not an animal. Does that count?
If you're gonna go for Jurassic Park, it's the fucking raptors. It's not the T-Rex, it's the raptors. But look, we will see you on the next.
Pick like inanimate things. So like the darkness or the nothingness from the never-ending story doesn't count.
No, like it's literally it will.
Take a breath there from everybody on the videos was sharp.
I'm assuming what you mean by villains, you're talking about, like, let's say Darth Vader.
Darth Vader is Darth Vader is a villain. Yeah, like Darth Vader is a villain. Again, Scar from The Lion King, yes, he would count as a villain because you're mainly dealing with a film primarily based on animals anyway, so that will count. But like we are not including like the dinosaurs from any of the Jurassic Park World series are not being included in this. I'm sorry, Jerry. The sharks from any of the Jaws franchise are not being included on this. However, for an example, if you were to choose the Evil Dead and you decide to go for one of the Deadites, that will count as a villain. Okay, because there is actually a physical incarnation of this when technically they are possessing someone, but in the movie they are noted as possessed Linda or normal Linda, so that will actually be counted. You can use something to that extent. Now, again, saying that, you have books, you have comic books, you have movies, and you have TV to choose from. If your villain has a remorse or has a redemption arc in it, you can still count that person as a villain because that's how they started off. It doesn't matter what their end game kind of turned in on. So for an example on this one, if you were to pick, let's say, Crowley from Supernatural as a villain, he will still count within the villain franchise, even though he died a hero, in a sense. We happy?
Yeah,
right?
I get that. It's fine.
All right. I'll fill in Dennis later on what we're doing next, and we will see you then anyway next time on the box set. I've been Amy. These have been my guests. Salut.